Hello and welcome to a lesson on comparing and repairing Christian organizations and their social media use, brought to you by UWGB Communication majors Casey Nickel and Wade Crevier. Today, we will be going through an analysis on 3 different Christian organizations that were selected for this project and show you the tools that we use to analyze the effectiveness of their social media platforms. Also, we will summarize the 5 C's of social media and underline the importance of each. And finally, we will walk you through what we determined were the 10 best practices for Christian organizations to follow for an effective social media strategy. So let's get started. The organizations we selected are pictured from left to right as Johnson Ferry Baptist Church in Marietta, Georgia, Green Bay Community Church in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and Fortune Lake Lutheran Camp in Crystal Falls, Michigan. These Christian organizations were selected based on their diverse characteristics such as size difference, where Johnson Ferry serves just under 4,000 families, and Christian beliefs, where Green Bay Community Church is a non-denominational congregation, and also for difference in mission, like Fortune Lake, which is a Bible camp serving all kinds of demographics in an outdoor ministry setting. When we evaluated the social media for each organization, we tried to test each on the rules of the 5 C's of social media. The 5 C's are coordinates, channels, content, connections, and corrections. Coordinates are points of connection. In the social media cosmos, they represent goals that are strongly linked, interconnected, and mutually reinforcing. Channels are the medium in which you transmit messages. So for the purpose of this case, it is going to be looking into the effectiveness of social media platforms. Content boils down to 3 basic interconnected questions. What are my content options? Who generates the content? And how do I select the right content? Connections refer to what is being linked to what, whether it be social media platforms to another website or posts being linked to certain channels, and how the organization forms networks with those connections. And corrections address how to assess effectiveness and correct errors. So next, I will explain the tools and charts we formulated around the 5 C's to evaluate how each organization is following the guidelines of the 5 C's. First is our content evaluation. This content evaluation asks the key questions of content and then would be ranked from 1 to 10 on how effective each organization was at answering them. Each organization was put through this test. The questions are: is the content coordinate aligned? Is the content sensitive to the audience? Is the content channel compatible? Is the content divided between categories? And is the content feedback driven? The second tool we used was the creation of a communication chart to measure synergy across platforms. This chart shown is the communication chart of Johnson Ferry Baptist Church. Synergy in this case is defined as the interaction between social platforms. This chart helps us understand what platforms are connected in communication and also shows where connections are not currently existing. The more connections, the better the synergy. Next is the connection and channel evaluation tool. This chart is probably the most complex tool we put together to analyze the organization's social media use. This tool uses the connections matrix with the connection strategies of reach, simplicity, depth, and abundance, and pairs the types of strategies with a specific value held by these organizations that we determine matches with the strategy. So for example, Green Bay Community Church has the value of reflecting a community image of the church. This matches the simplicity strategy by increasing the predictability of their message focusing on community. This strategy, based on the platform's analysis, was then ranked 0 to 5. The last part of this tool is the channel effectiveness evaluation, where each communication channel that the organization utilizes was ranked 0 to 5 on how effective they applied this strategy to the channel used. So not every channel ranked high because different strategies might be utilized on different platforms. So it became a matter of if the platform was appropriate for the strategy. The final item that we analyzed the organizations on was looking into the coordinates and making sure that they were aligned. The example provided here is the coordinates of Fortune Lake Lutheran Camp. As you can see, the main goal held by Fortune Lake is to transform lives through God's grace. and the other coordinates help answer how camp is going to make sure that this goal is achieved. Hence, the coordinates are aligned. So now that we've explained the tools we use to analyze these Christian organizations, let's share what we found were the 10 best practices in social media use for Christian organizations. These practices are numbered, but they are in no particular order of importance. Number 1. Post videos of live sermons each Sunday with links to your webpage where all sermons can be found. Your sermons are always going to be the key messages as a church. Yes, you may have other forms of ministry in your church, but everything stems from what is being taught on Sundays. Here is an example of the Green Bay Community Church posting a live stream video of their pastor's sermon on Facebook. Having these messages on social media allow for a wider reach and also make your message accessible for more people, and that can go a long way for your message. Number 2. Teach leadership the importance of proper uses of social media and the coordinates of your strategy. As we know through social media strategies, many business and company leaders do not understand the importance of social media and how to utilize it. This is the same for Christian organizations. Many leaders in the church do not understand social media, so it is important to make sure they understand how valuable these platforms can be. Number 3. Produce content internally with an organic appeal. Here is an example of an internally produced photo posted by Johnson Ferry's Shine Ministry. Internally produced content adds a personal touch to your social media strategy and familiarizes people with the church's values of bringing people closer to God. Content created by the church will go a lot farther than a typical stock photo pulled up on the internet. Number 4. Develop a social media team derived from different parts of the church. Like a basketball team, it is important to have people who can play different positions and have specialties in certain areas. A basketball team is not going to be successful if they are all 7-foot centers. Nobody would be able to handle the ball. It is the same in the church. Your social media team should be diverse and come from all different areas of your ministry. Number 5. Utilize subset social media pages for different ministries within your church, for example, a women's ministry or a children's ministry. Subset is defined as being a branch of a larger group. Pictured here are just some of the subset pages that Johnson Ferry uses. These include the women's ministry and a children's ministry specific page on social media. Having these subset social media platforms is crucial to targeting all the demographics within a church congregation. This was definitely an issue discovered in the research, so this tactic can help solve this issue. Number 6. Center a large percentage of content around the people within the church. This may seem too easy to conceptualize, but again, it is crucial to having a successful strategy. Here are examples from each of our organizations of them utilizing this strategy. Think about it. Church is a body made up of people, so it is important to utilize the necessary platforms to share people's stories and create a community relationship. Number 7. Understand the role of each social media platform and choose the best strategy to match the platform. For example, having high-quality photos on Instagram. Each social media platform has a different set of functions and a different set of needs. In order to be successful in how you use each platform, it is important to define the role in which it will serve you in your strategy. So select the appropriate platforms for the needs you outline in your strategy. Number 8. Promote platform synergy by linking social media platforms to other platforms such as your church's webpage. Here is an example from Johnson Ferry demonstrating platform synergy. At the end of the post, you can see there is a link to their website where you can find more information. Another step they could utilize in synergy is providing links to other social media platforms for people to follow them and get information on all fronts. Number 9. Craft social media coordinates that align with the values of the church and support one another, typically having at least 3. Again, we can go back to the example of what Fortune Lake already has in place. Each value answers the question, which shows that they have a strong base for what they believe in. Creating a strategy on strong coordinates makes things easier and less complicated when trying to understand what your message should be. And finally, number 10, continuously improve methods and strategy. As we have learned all throughout our entire education at UW Green Bay, it is key to be constantly improving what you are doing and adjusting your strategy accordingly, and this definitely applies to Christian organizations as well. All of these practices will allow you to continue believing in an unchanging message of Christ and commit your church to the ever-changing methodologies of social media. Thank you for listening. Now get out there and become social media experts.